Gloom Pillars is now my favorite spawn after the Vocation rebalance, and this video covers how to hunt them with a team range of 1500s and with one Taint. First, a quick disclaimer. This is focused towards much higher level averages. I have already made a guide that covers how to hunt on a lower level team, and personally see no need to update it. If anything, the Vocation rebalance made the hunts easier than before. With that said, this hunt we have one Taint, which makes it possible to swap positions with the Wandering Pillars. If you are a little bit lower levels or want to start easier, then try with no Taints first. Now for general information, the main mechanic of this spawn, the energy chain attack, can largely be ignored nowadays. This used to provide potential high combos on mages, but that doesn't feel as dangerous anymore with the mana barrier, and because pools are bigger, you will move around more often. You tend to not get hit by all chains. The kill distribution will favor Dark Light emitters followed by converters and lastly pillars if you want to hold praise. The damage received is mainly fire followed by holy to shooters, with EKs taking more even distribution of fist, fire and holy. There is the extra source of earth that only comes from emitters and the energy that comes from the chain. For wheel recommendations, this is what we were using. Treat it as reference, not as the absolute best, but for a bit of insight on our decisions, Druid goes for buffs on Ice Way due to being his best element to attack here. He ran this wheel initially thinking he will mass res more often like in most spawns, but the way we were hunting he ended up changing to this. Most of his rotation revolved around using the ice spells. Tear Away mostly when starting on an A-box on the EK, Ice Fork for the lures in between pools, and Thunderstorms when the pool is at its peaks of monsters. With this wheel he will heal RP or EK with seals mostly, and keep himself alive through the link and occasional mass res. EK went for a damage focused wheel with a one-hander. The Exorimine was greatly useful to open up the bosses earlier and then have room to leap to the next pool more often, but with so much kiting, it also helps to have a high executioner throw. Additionally, this wheel gave me the option to run some fire protection gems on the sides, and having at least one buff in the mid granite is quite useful. Sorcerer prioritizes getting beam mastery 3 with double point gems, and was using a death rotation prioritizing buffs on energy waves in between. If he had more levels, he would have gone for the second upgrade to the Death Echo for more damage. RP opted for getting buffs on Ethereal Barrage. This is due to physical being his main damage on this spawn. The creatures here are resistant to Holy, so it's not great to use, but with the buff from Ballistic Mastery and the benefit of using potions with the spells, he ended up using Mass Sand and Grenade often, plus the option to unlock multiple fire protection gems for a total of 18%. For equipment, not much has changed other than the introduction of the Flamingo Amulets if they are available, and the new one is especially good for sorcerers here. I don't have Soul Walkers, so the next best option were these for Wrath protection. Lastly, these are the charms to use. With that said, let's begin the lab. The first pool is south of the entrance, 2 rooms in. When hunting, we will be coming from the right, and the paladin lures the room north to here. For most of the hunt, mages are the ones luring from the back, and paladin gets an additional lure from the rooms nearby. For the record, this was the hardest pool for me as the EK, and will hold on Utamo Tempo the entire time on this pool. Everywhere else, it will be a mix of neutral and utilo. And when the initial box on the EK opens up, most of the times it's time to go next. If there is too many, then I stay for 1 or 2 turns. For this next pull, I lured the one creature to the right, and this one is optional. You can stay on it and get them low HP before you leave. You can lure and leave right away as the team enters your screen, or do a few attack spells without getting surrounded and then leave. It will depend on your needs, because otherwise it gets really dangerous on the next one. Then for the next one, it's the EK's turn to go ahead and peek into this path and bring creatures out. This one takes a bit to bring out, but it syncs up with the rest of the team coming from before. And depending on the choice you made before, this one could have a lot of creatures with little room to move, and I will leave depending on the state of the pool. For the most part, trying to leave early. For the next one, I will also pick a bit to the right and bring 1 to 2 creatures from there and set up. This time around, everyone will be coming together and clearing the previous pool, and I leave by the time mine dies, as this next one tends to be weak with just creatures from the room and the pool from the back. This time, EK is not the first one to leave. Instead, the paladin goes ahead and will lure from the south room. Optionally, he could have gone from the south of us, but it's slightly better this way. Meanwhile he lures that, I come in first and set up while mages finish up clearing the back. And now when the paladin comes with him, you will have 2 options. For us, he will do a slow lap around me, kiting his creatures and doing about 4 turns of attacks, and then leave right away to do his lure to the southeast. This resulted in us having a pretty big pool and sometimes breaking share, so you need to be fast to leave or slow together. But to be fair, if you choose to be slow, the reason my paladin was leaving this early to begin with was to add more creatures, cause we were very close to overkilling. So if you are not there yet, that lure is not necessary. Anyways, I will try to leave fast to keep up the share XP active, and then mages can lure the creatures here. I tend to be on my own for a few seconds, and it's fine since this room is quite empty to begin with. Once paladin comes here, stay just a few turns more and then lead to the north. I pick towards the north and set up more in the middle. This is to connect with the lure sooner and is better for that, although leaves less room to move around. For the next 3 pulls, we will be going left, and on each rune the paladin will be going ahead or right next to the EK, and then lure the runes to the north back down, with the mages always staying together clearing the backline. For each rune it's necessary for the EK to do a bit of a lap around the rune to lure the creatures on the edges, otherwise they take too long to come on their own. And with that we will be back at the entrance, finishing the lap. Our average experience will sit at around the 24 to 26kk route. The peak will be 27kk, and at that point the spawn will break due to overkill. For that, there is potentially 2 pulls we tried. At the southwest, we will go into this path, and EK going ahead to lure creatures, and shooters guiding the rest of the way to meet in the middle to do 1 pull, and then take the stairs and do 1 more by the boss teleport. After that, we will go left and back out to continue the lap where we left off. We only did this briefly when we tried 5 men and didn't really commit to it other than for 1 hunt. Additionally, I recommend for the EK to run around the underground and south path before the hunt and at the break if you take one. This is to look for the echo rates. Since the lap itself covers most ground, if you don't see an echo on it, it will be on those areas. But if you don't want to deal with them, then ignore it. Lastly, in terms of profit, we will sit at around the 10kk the hour with creatures products at 1. And this one drops 2 in particular that tend to be expensive, the Basal Crumbs and Basal Cores. However, the cores are extremely rare and we will at best get 10 total in 2 hours, so that is why they are very expensive or non-existent. With that said, that's all I got for this one. More Rotten Blood guides for these levels will be coming, so consider subscribing. Thank you for watching and until the next one.